And for example, this is server operating system. We want to install Active Directory on the server operating system. You can see that the label of Windows Server 2003 Enterprise Edition, and there Windows Server 2003 Enterprise Edition. It's not going to be installed on the client machine. Now first of all we have to go to club. How to? Just click on the start button, then go to run and type DC promo. Domain controller promoter. Now click on the OK button. So a welcome wizard is going to be appeared. And in this you can see that what is the heading? Welcome to the Active Directory installation wizard. Click on the next button. Again a welcome screen is going to be appeared, and then again click on the next button. Here we have to select the first option, that is what? Domain controller for a new domain. And I have already told you that additional domain is going to be used for what? For the distribution of the load of the main server. So that is going to be used for, but we are using what? Domain controller for a new domain, because we are going to use it, we are going to install it, we are going to configure it for the first time. The second option, domain in a new forest, we have to select it. The second option, that is what? Child domain, if you want to create a sub branch of the main domain. So that is going to be selected child domain, but we are going to use it for the first time, so we have to select domain in a new forest. Again click next. Here you have to type the domain name, kabul.com, kardan.com, microsoft.com, abc.com, anything you want to type. I'm just going to type abc.com, for example. XYZ, hello, hi, Microsoft, anything you want to type. I'm just going to type, for example, that is what? Kabul.com. Kabul.com, and then click next. It will take a few seconds, and after that it will show you the net BIOS name, and that should be just Kabul.com would not be there. Just the first name is going to be taken. Okay, the net BIOS name, that is just kabul.com.edu.net would not be there. Just the first name is going to be taken, and again click next. Now it will show you that where the database is going to be stored, where the Active Directory is going to be stored, and that is the folder name is NTDS. And the next we have to store the share file and folders, so that is what? That is sysvol. The next thing it will ask about what? The next thing that it will ask about the DNS. That if you want to install the DNS, or if you want to install laterally or before you install. So that is going to be asked it here. Now you can see that the previous step, that is what? Install DNS or install DNS laterally, or install, I have already installed the DNS server. So that just is going to be taken from here. That is what? I have corrected the problem. No, I want install and configure the DNS server on this computer. And the last option, that is what? I will correct the problem later by configuring what? By configuring the DNS. Means that the DNS configure. But we are going to select this option. Install and configure the DNS server on this computer. And then click the next. The next step, that is what? That is permission compatible with only with pre-Windows 2000. For example, if you install Windows NT or Windows 2000 server, so the first option is going to be selected. Means permissions compatible with pre-Windows 2000 server. So means pre-Windows 2000 server, that is before 2000 server has been launched. Means Windows NT and Windows 2000 server. That was a compatibility. But we are using what? We are using Windows Server 2003. So we have to select the second option. That is what? Permission compatible with only with what? Only with Windows 2000 or Windows 2003 server. So we don't have to use 2000 and 2003. So we have to select this option, permission compatible with only with what? Only with Windows 2000 and 2003 server. And then click next. It will ask about the restore mode. So we don't have to assign any password, and then click next. And then the installation of the Active Directory is going to be stored. So it will take a minute or two, and then we have to restart our computer. And you can see when the Active Directory is going to start. So there would be what? There would be three options. Now you can see in the administrator tools, there is no Active Directory. So after the installation of Active Directory, there would be three options would be there. Active Directory domain interest, Active Directory site and services, and Active Directory users and computers. These three options would be added in this administrative tools. These are the three options, Rashi. It's not yet here because the Active Directory process is going to install it at this time. So that's why it's not there. So after the installation of Active Directory domain interest, Active Directory site and services, and Active Directory users and computers will be there.
Sir, anytime if you want to use network, again, you must install this PC program.
Yeah. If you want to make your computer, your server as a domain controller, so on that computer you have installed Active Directory. If you don't want to make it as a domain controller, so that's not required. Now the Active Directory installation has been finished, so we have to restart our computer for a single time. Just finish and restart your computer. After the installation of Active Directory, you have to restart your computer for a single time. Now the Windows Server 2003 is going to restart. Now after the installation of Active Directory, it will take a time. Normally که تاسو سروران کوي نو دومره ټایم نه اخلي چې کله Active Directory انسټال شي نو بیا دا لوډینګ کې لږ ټایم اخلي. इंशाल्लाह एंड के Server has been restarted and we are going to log in with the administrator username and password. Now check it out, there would be three options: Active Directory domain interest, Active Directory site and services, and Active Directory users and computers. Now just click on the start button, go to programs and there admin tools, and you can see there will be three options: Active Directory site and services, Active Directory user and computers, and the first property that is on the top is not visible. That is what Active Directory domain interest. The most thing that we are using, mostly we are using this option. The Active Directory users and computer. Now going to click on it and you will see the domain name would be there. Just click on the button. You can see what is the domain name you have mentioned in the Active Directory installation. That is called cobble.com. And when you are going to click on the plus button, so that is going to be extend. That is what all the users would be there by default. Just administrator is there because we have not yet created any users. And all the computers connected to this network, computer 1, 2, 3, that would be stored here. That will be shown here. But currently there is no user because all the computer belongs to what? Belongs to workgroup. So we have to convert it from workgroup to what? From workgroup to domain. And after what? After the installation of DNS server. So that is what? That is just the installation of Active Directory. Now, for example, if you want to install and configure the DNS server, so how to install or how to configure, that is, now how to install DNS server, just go to start programs, admin tools, start program settings, and from there select control panel. Click on it, and from there select add remove programs. The next step, that is what, select add remove window components. When this window is going to be appeared, so just scroll down and select networking services. Now the checkbox would be what? Checkbox would be disabled. You don't have to enable the checkbox. Just select this option and then go to what? Go to details. And the first option, that is what, domain name system. Just enable the checkbox, click on the OK button, and then next to install the DNS server on this computer. Click on the Windows 7. In Windows 7, just go to control panel. And that is what program and features will be there. That is program and features. These are the options. From here you can install and uninstall a specific program. But that is what we are going to discuss it with what? With server operating system, not on the client side. This feature is just going to be installed on the server, not on the client side. Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows Home, Windows 98, Windows 97, these are just made for clients purposes. They are just made for requests, not for server purposes. Just Windows NT, Windows 2000, Windows 2003 and 2008 server reviews. These options are just available there. So, now just go to start program admin tools, and there you can see DNS is now installed. DNS is now installed. Now how to configure it? How to configure the DNS server? So click on the DNS server, and there you can what? You will see two zones would be there. Server is the computer name. If you want to check it out, right click on my computer, go to properties, and from there computer name. What is the computer name? That is server. And the domain name is what? Domain name is kabul.com. Now, for example, if you want to configure, so you can see that the computer name is there, that is server. And you will see there would be two zones, forward lookup zone and reverse lookup zone. Forward lookup zone is automatically configured. You can see kabul.com, the option is there. But we have to convert. We have to what? We have to create what? We have to configure and the DNS, the reverse lookup zone. So how to configure? So right click on the reverse lookup zone and select the first option. That is what? New zone. Click on it, then click next. Again select the first option. Primary zone, we are going to use it for the first time, so we have to select primary. Next, to all domain controllers in the Active Directory. Next, here you have to mention what? You have to just mention the what? The host, the network portion here. So the IP address of the server is what? That is 10.0.0.1. So we have to just mention the network portion, and that is what? 10.0.0. Just the host portion is disabled. You can see that it's disabled. Again click on the next button, allow only secure dynamic updates, next, and finish. Reverse lookup zone has been configured. You can see 10.0.0 is there, but we have just mentioned the network portion. Now we want to what? We want to create an entry for the server. So right click on it and select what? Select new pointer, and here you have to mention just one. That is what? That is the host portion for the server. 10.0.0.1. Now it's completed, and from there just click on the browse button, go to server, select forward lookup zone and kabul.com, and server entry is not there. So what we have to do? First of all, we have to make a server entry here, and that is what? How to make it? Right click, new host, and from there type the name of the server. That is what? The computer name is server. Now you can see the fully qualified domain. FQDN is what? Server.kabul.com. That is the fully qualified domain name for this computer. And here you have to type the mention, the IP address of that server, 10.0.0.1. Now click on what? Create associated pointer. Add host, the host record server.kabul.com was successfully created. Now click on the OK button, Done. Now if you want to configure the reverse lookup zone, so right click on it and create new pointer, and here you have to mention what? Just one, and from there click browse, then go to server, forward lookup zone, couple.com, and the server info is there. You have to select just the server name, click on OK. A new record can't be created, already exists because we have created in the server. Now for example, if you can see, I'm just going to select forward lookup zone. So in the forward lookup zone, in the cobble, you can see server is there. Server means server. Now this is the host name, and that is what the IP address of this computer is what? 10.0.0.1. So the forward lookup zone convert what? Convert host name into IP address. And if I'm going to select the reverse lookup zone, so the reverse lookup zone, that is what? Server.com already there. That is already there. So the reverse lookup zone convert IP address into host name, and forward lookup zone convert host name into IP addresses. That is how to configure and install the DNS server as well. For example, if I'm going to the client side, DNS is configured properly, and if you want to just check it out whether the DNS server is properly configured or not, so we have to use a command that is called what? nslookup. nslookup. nslookup is used for what? For just checking out the DNS server. If the DNS server properly installed, so it will show you what? It will show you the complete name of the server, that is what? server.couple.com, and the IP address 10.0.0.1. But whether the DNS is not properly installed and configured, so it will show you what? Unknown server, and the IP address would be what? 127.0.0.1. That is the error message. मतलब कल तासु पखपल computer बाने DNS install के वो configure के whether the DNS is properly installed, so it will show you this message. मतलब server name, then the domain name, and then the IP address. कचेरी तासु DNS properly configure नहीं भी बताओ उसका दा message मिला नहीं. Unknown server 127.0.0.1. That is, now for example, if you want to check it out the connectivity, that whether we install the DNS properly, so just go to start run and there type what? ns lookup. So default server is what? Unknown and 127.0.0.1. so it means we didn't configure it properly. So why? First of all, after the installation of DNS server on a computer, we have already assigned what? We have already assigned to this computer. So just double click on the local area connection, go to properties, from there select TCP IP and then properties. Here you can see that the IP address for this computer is what? 10.0.0.1, and the subnet mask is 255.0.0.0, but there the preferred DNS server, so there is what? There is no IP address mentioned. So when you are going to install the DNS server, so that computer IP address is going to be mentioned here. So come computer bani tasu DNS install gay, da computer IP address दी जाके पकार. So we have already installed and configured the DNS server on the same computer. So here I am going to mention the same IP address, that is 10.0.0.1, because the DNS server and Active Directory is going to install on the same server. So now I am going to click on OK, close, and then close, and after that just check it out the same command, that is what? That is nslookup. Again go to start run cmd and now type nslookup. You will see what is the message: default server server.couple.com, and the address is, that is what? 10.0.0.1, and the previous message was what? Default server unknown, and the IP address 127.0.0.1, because we have created, we have configured the DNS server on this computer, but we didn't mention the IP address on the clients, on this server operating system, that is what? On the DNS server. So when you give the IP address of the DNS server on the same computer, so after that it will give you the same message, that is what? server.couple.com, and the IP address of this computer. Now go to what? Go to the client operating system. We are having two clients, Windows XP and Windows XP. Now I'm going to right click on my computer, then go to properties, and from there select what? Computer name. You will see this computer name is what? Client 1, and it belongs to what? It belongs to S, and that is what? That is workgroup, but we want to convert it. We want to convert it from the workgroup to the domain. Mung the computer the domain client to we want to commute. We want to what? We want to make this computer to the client of that domain. So how to convert? Just go to what? First of all, I'm going to what? Click on the local area connection, and there go to what? Properties. From there, just first of all, check it out the IP address. If the IP address from the same class, so the IP address is not from the same class because the server IP address is what? 10.0.0.1, and this is 192.168.3.1. That belongs to class C. So first of all, I'm going to change the IP address. That is what? 10.0.0.2. The IP address is the subnet mask 255.0.0, and here that is what prefer DNS. So here you have to mention the IP address of the server operating system DNS where the DNS is configured. So that is what 10.0.0.1. Now click on the OK button, and after that, if you want to convert this computer from the workgroup to the domain, so how to convert it? We want to convert this computer. Right click on my computer, go to properties, from there select computer name, and then select what? By default it belongs to what? Workgroup, and that is termed as. We want to convert from workgroup to domain, so click on the change button, and from there select what? Domain. And what's the domain name? Kabul.com. Click on the OK button. It will ask about the administrator username and password. If it gives you an error message, so there is two options are there. If that in Windows control panel firewall option is enabled, so it will give you an error message. So first of all, go to what? Go to check firewall in the control panel. Windows firewall. Go to control panel, select Windows firewall, and that if it's enabled, no, by default it's disabled, that is off. The second option, if this error message again appears, so the second option, you don't have to mention .com with the domain name, just Kabul would be there. .com is not going to be mentioned. Now click on the OK button, so it will ask about the administrator username and password. So I'm just going to type administrator username and then the password of the administrator, and then click on the OK button. So it will give you a message, and that is what? Welcome to Kabul.com domain. And after that, we have to restart your computer for a single time. Now you can see the message, welcome to what? Welcome to the Kabul domain. Now this computer converted from workgroup to what? From workgroup to the domain. Click on the OK button and then restart your computer for a single time. Again go to the second client, and you want to this client to be the domain of that domain control. So how to do the same method is going to be used. First of all, what we have to do, just double click on the local area connection and assign IP address from the same class. From here select what? TCP IP, go to properties, assign the IP address from the same class, that is what? For example 10.0.0.3, and here DNS server, that is what? 10.0.0.1. the server IP is going to be mentioned here. Again click on the OK button. After the assigning the IP addresses, then we have to go to what? Right click on my computer and then go to properties. The same method is going to be followed, the same procedure. Select computer name. Now this computer belongs to what? Workgroup, and that is termed as. Again click on the change button, and from there select domain. Type the domain name, that is what? That is Kabul, and click on the OK button. Just give the administrator username and password. Click on the OK button. The same message is going to be appeared, that is what? Welcome to Kabul domain, and then you have to restart your computer. Welcome to the Kabul domain. Then click on OK and restart your computer. I'm just going to check it out the previous system that has been restarted. Now I'm going to log in. Now you can see there is what client on this computer. Now I'm going to assign a password. So now this computer converted from workgroup to domain. And how to check it out? Then click on this button. You will see the domain name would be there. That is what Kabul. Previously just client one was there. Now it has been converted from what? From workgroup to domain. So the domain name is there and click on the OK button to log in on that domain. This computer has been restarted. Again log in with the same username and password, and from here select what? From here select kabul.com. That is Kabul. Now click on the OK button. Now go to the previous operating system. It has been logged in. So check it out whether this computer belongs to our group or domain. For the first time it's going to take a long time because it's going to convert it from a domain, and after that if you are using creating any users, so that is going to be logged in within a few seconds. Now for example, if you want to check it out, now I'm going to right click on my computer. Previously it was belong to what? It was belong to the work group, and that was term S. Now click on the computer name. The computer name is now what? Client1.kabul.com. And that is what the domain name is what? Kabul.com. So we have converted this computer from workgroup to domain. And again the same option for the second computer. Right click on the computer, go to what? Properties, and there check it out. Client2.kabul.com, and the domain name is what? That is kabul.com. So now we are having a single server, that is domain controller, and we have converted two clients from workgroup to domain. Now these two computers are the clients of that domain. Is that clear?